Hello and welcome to a new season of Solo Inter podcast. With me, as usual, is Parmeshwar and Manish. This should have been such a happy moment. The season after the Scudetto, like we should be like raring to go forward and like win the season again, like go deep in Europe. But what a shit show it has been. Like Conte's gone 3 days after the Scudetto. Hakimi is sold because we need to balance the books. All that is fine. Yeah, we need to balance the book. Everything was settled. The management spoke to the ultras and it was all fine. But now all of a sudden, Lukaku is going. Like it looks like this. There is no end to this. And for me personally, I feel like this is just the start of a domino effect. I think Sunning feels they need to make money. And once Lukaku goes, why would Lautaro stay? Why would Skriniar stay? These are the players that stuck to the team because this was a brotherhood that had formed. Everyone wanted to be together, but now it's like once Lukaku leaves, I think it's over. It'll be a domino effect. Skriniar is going to leave. De Vrij will leave. Lautaro might leave because Messi just signed a new contract in Barca for 5 years. So Lautaro will be like, yeah, I'll rather go play with Messi. I don't want this like instability around me. Coming to you, Manish, first, like, what do you make of this? Should have been a happy occasion waiting for a new season, but it's all gone to shit.
Yes, first of all, Gautam, happy to be back in season 2 of our podcast, Solo Inter podcast. And yes, what a summer. First of all, Inter winning the Scudetto and then Italy winning the Euros. Euros, amazing. Like Italy had a very good tournament. And yes, I supported Italy and yeah, we won it. So overall, like back-to-back celebration. First Inter winning it and then Italy winning it. And now back to Inter. Like you said, it's never easy with Inter. It's not easy being an Inter fan. It's always the same scenario, yeah. Like last time, I think a decade ago, Mourinho won it. The next day, he resigned, he left, and that's it. The banter era started. So right now, I think the situation is pretty much the same. We won the Scudetto, and before we could celebrate properly, I think Conte resigned. After Conte, I think pretty much the whole Inter system shook. Conte left, Pintus left, Oriali, the manager, left, Hakimi, the following up. And now it seems Lukaku is ready to leave. And that's shocking. After Lukaku, it seems Martinez was linked with Arsenal. And yes, not to mention the Croatian boys, Brozovic, Perisic, still not renewed. The Chilean boys, Vidal and Sanchez. So pretty much the whole Inter system right now is shook up, man. So Gotham really, 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 really bad situation right now. Uh, I think all the Inter players had a very good tournament. So one thing Conte said when everybody criticized Conte with the hefty wages, Conte said, you know what, whichever team I go, I make sure the squad value increases. And that's one thing which he did right. The overall Inter team, the squad values increased much high level now. I think everybody performed well. Lautaro won the Copa America with 4 goals. He played really well. Lukaku itself scored 4 goals in Euros. And all Inter players, everybody performed well. So right now, Inter's value is very high in the market. And it's a big mistake letting Conte go. For me, Conte was one of the best coaches after Mourinho. If you look into somebody, it was Conte. And now Conte leaving itself, it's a big pain. And now with Simeone Inzaghi in charge, and right now it's a chaos. Lukaku, should he stay? Should he go? And if Lukaku leaves, right, you rightly said there's domino effect. If Lukaku leaves, pretty much everyone. Lukaku was the heart and soul of the club. Everybody knows that. Lukaku, and we all predicted him to be the captain next for the season, because that good he is, not just on the pitch, off the pitch too. So if you ask my opinion, personally, I won't want Lukaku stay because right now 130 millions mean nothing. And out of the 130 million, do you think Suning's going to reinvest? That's big, really big question. If we had a different management like Moratti and stuff, we know that at least some part will be invested. But right now, Gotham, if you ask me, I'm really disappointed, and I hope Lukaku stays.
Yeah, I mean, Parmeshwar, to the point which Manish brought up, like, it's not only about Lukaku leaving, it's about reinvesting into the club. I mean, for me personally, it feels like Sunning fraud right now because they made sure, like what Manish just mentioned, like what Conte did was increase the value of the squad.
Mhm.
And now Sunning is like gradually dismantling your Scudetto squad.
Mhm.
Yeah, Hakimi went, now Lukaku will go. Next,
Yeah,
there's a rumor that De Vrij will leave as well.
yeah.
And looks like these guys are just dismantling the entire squad.
Mhm.
And you have contracts for Kolarov and Gagliardini, you have Ranocchia, Siri signing in. Looks like another 10 years of Banta era for me. Like, how do you see this turning out? Do you see light at the end of the tunnel, or do you think like, oh, there are just dark days ahead with, and there might be a situation where Pepe Marotta might leave at the end of the summer?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, it's first of all good to be back after a long time, and I mean, I didn't expect that we'd be returning to this. I mean, as Manish said, I thought we'll still be at a decent level after winning the trophy, but here we are. There was talk of getting the second star. I mean, that seems very far fetched right now. But yeah, coming to your question, I heard you mentioned the term fraud, and I mean, I can't disagree with you because technically, if you think about it, Suning did lie on a lot of fronts because if you think about it, Inzaghi was hired on a lie. If you go back and watch his press conference, he openly said that I was told that Hakimi would leave and no other key player would leave, and then basically you have lied to him and taken advantage of the fact that he has worked under tough conditions at Lazio, pretty much the same conditions where he didn't get a lot of players. So you basically have taken advantage of that and lied to him, and he has every right to be angry. I mean, he might not show it and he might not be Conte in terms of quality or expressing himself, but if he steps down tomorrow, I'm not going to hold him responsible because these are non-workable conditions. This is just too much. Like, as Manish said, many people blamed Conte right from the start for throwing fits, even in the 1920 season, in the 2021 season. But now when you look back at all those things, he was right. He knew what was going on. He knew Suning were not sustainable, and I personally never blamed him for anything. I mean, yes, he had his issues and everything, but he was right, and you see the difference now. He's happy, he's enjoying his holidays, and I don't blame him. He got us the trophy he was supposed to, and while Suning probably gave him certain guarantees towards the end of the 2021 season, he was mentally exhausted, and yeah, I mean, then of course we've hired Simone Inzaghi, and after hiring Inzaghi, I've been sort of a critic of Inzaghi over the years, but I won't deny that he has grown as a coach. And I can clearly understand why he was hired. Similar sort of tactical approach. He's on the younger side. He's growing over the years. He got Lazio back into the Champions League after 13 years. So, okay, fine. We have Inzaghi. We let Hakimi go, as you said, Gotham. And after that, as Marotta said, there still seemed to be a plan. It's okay. Only Hakimi left. It hurts, but then we targeted the likes of Nandes, Bellerin, Dumfries. Okay, we can still manage with any one of the three. But just 3 weeks before the season is about to begin, you're telling me that we might sell our best player. We are about to basically practically, and that's a big blow to Inzaghi, as Manish said, to the rest of the squad, because Lukaku is not just a great personality on the pitch, but he's a great personality off the pitch. He helps his teammates all round. I mean, he, as Manish said, is a leader pretty much, and he is one of the candidates was the candidates for captaincy. You can't just sell him off like that. I mean, I know you need to raise money, but then you need to have a sustainable plan. Like, I mean, 130 million is attractive, but as we have been reading today, Gazzetta dello Sport say that maybe only 40, somewhere around 40 to 60 million will be reinvested. I mean, that's not an adequate amount. If we are targeting Duan Zapata as the replacement, he himself is going to cost 40. And I personally, while I like Duan Zapata, he's not worth 40 million at this point for me because the resale value needs to be considered. He's too injury prone, and I'm not going to be satisfied with him personally. So, this feels like a time and market where Marotta doesn't really have full control. And you can see by the reports, he's not happy. He wants to keep Lukaku badly. Even Ozilio wants to. Like, I've been a critic of Ozilio, but even he, I can't blame him this time. It's only Zhang. And the worst part of all this, I feel, is that Zhang comes to Italy when it's convenient to celebrate, but then he goes back when he knows the things are going to get tough. He's back there in China with absolutely no communication from Suning, and this is my one biggest issue with Suning, that they never communicate even when things go bad. And yeah, and you have a 60-year-old Marotta dealing with the ultras face to face on a daily basis. It's just not done. And yeah, you saw the pic. I don't know if you saw the pictures a while ago. The Karwan Order have been protesting again. They put up a banner saying the time is over. They said put up another banner right now saying that Beppe and Ozilio, we are with you. Basically, a direct attack at Zhang. So Gautam, I mean, I've been someone who's backed Conte, who's backed Zhang. I've always tried to find a middle ground between the two, but I just can't defend them anymore. I mean, I don't want to compare us to Juventus. I know they're far more sustainable and better off and wealthy. But their parent company, Agnelli's parent company, Exor Group, pumped in 400 million to cover their losses and cut costs. Not for the transfer market, obviously, but here we are in a similar way. We have to actually sell our players to do that, and it's not going to like I want people to realize that if this is how we continue, it's not going to stop at this market. It's going to happen the next summer and probably the summer after that, until we reach a point where the ticket revenue is consistent, where the sponsor revenue is consistent from China, and it's all based on the hope that China reopens its doors to football. So there's a lot riding on the term hope right now than something that is guaranteed. So it's about time. Like, I know, I mean, Suning should have sold, but there's something needs to be done. Like, Zhang needs to be, he needs to come out and say something. I'm not supporting him here. I'm against him, but I just don't know what else can be done at this moment, because it's a shit show, as you said. And I mean, we'll probably lose our best player over the weekend, over next week, and I'm not too confident going into the season like this. I mean, if this is how we continue, I don't even know if top four is a guarantee anymore, man.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you again. Like, do you feel that we'll be competitive this season, or is it like again Pantera, wherein like the final match day we are struggling to reach top four because obviously now it's too late to replace Lukaku unless you
Hmm.
get Vlahovic. Even that is now it's too late. I mean, it should have been done before. Nothing is certain right now. Clubs are putting the values high because they know we are getting the money.
Yeah.
We are not investing. So
Hmm.
it feels like the unity that was there last season. I mean, yeah, the season before we missed out on the Scudetto. The table lied like 1 point. It was way the gap was way more. But we reached the finals of Europa. We lost there.
Hmm.
It built the unity, and that continued last season, and it
Hmm. Hmm.
helped our race to the Scudetto. And the unity in the team made us win the Scudetto. It was from
Hmm.
Conte, from the management to the players. But right now, it feels like there is no unity at all. I'm for sure certain that the players don't trust the management anymore.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah, and
yes,
then yeah, sorry, continue.
yeah, I mean, they're
Get to it.
seeing what is happening. And at
Yeah.
the end of the day, as a player, you would feel like, why do I want to be here? I mean,
Yeah.
they don't value me at all. Like Skriniar, like our players were known to fire agents to stay at the
Hmm.
club. And this is how the club is treating the players right now.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, and
why
and
why would you do that?
uh,
Like Skriniar's agent, I guess, would be calling him up and saying that, dude, I gave you a bit offer. See what you're stuck with now.
and just to add to what you said, in terms of treatment of players, one point that bugs me the most is that we all know now, as Interisti and even non-Interisti know, that it's Suning trying to push Lukaku out, not
Yeah,
Marotta, not Ozilio, and he's not asking to leave unless he's pushed out. But as per what the reports said, credible reports, Suning will make it seem as if he asked to leave. So that is part of mistreating players, creating a poor image. Because I'm pretty sure the rest of the players in the squad know that Suning want to sell Lukaku, but when they read the news, whenever if he's gone, and mostly he's gone, when they read the news, they'll be reading that Lukaku asked for the leave, but they'll know it's false.
yeah,
So this is part of mistreating players, and then on top of that, you made them basically play through an entire season by delaying wages, which is fine. It was an agreement with the players, but on top, there is a limit to which you can do that. Okay, you can't tell them every season, don't take your wages for 2 months, for 3 months. You can't do that every season. And you know coming back to your question, I mean, will we be competitive? It's hard to see, because if personally, see, we are struggling so much to close the deal for Nathan Nandes, and that's partly because of Nine Goal, and because he wants a commission and everything. But still, we can't pay 2 million extra for Nandes. How am I supposed to remain optimistic about the fact that we are going to send Duvan Zapata for 40 million, or even a Vlahovic potentially for 60 million? I mean, do I trust Suning? Like, that's the main question Marotta has on his mind. How much from that 130 million am I going to get to reinvest? If you give him 100, miraculously, I completely trust him to rebuild this team. Like, he maybe gets a Vlahovic, he maybe gets Nandes and Dumfries, and maybe he offloads Vidal, and we are fine. We in terms of positionally being covered in every position, we are fine. Maybe not the quality as last season, but you get what I mean. But if you're just going to give him 60 million to work with, it's basically not that much from different, not that different from getting Nandes on loan, potentially Dumfries on loan, and then a striker on a permanent basis. So, you know, there is, and the papers keep writing about this. The squad faces this on a daily basis. Last season you had Conte protecting the squad. We all know this. We had Lele Oriali protecting the squad, but he's gone now. He only works when the project is convincing, and I don't blame him either. We don't have Lele Oriali, and that responsibility now is on Marotta and Ozilio. How much are they supposed to do? Like, you want them to manage the transfers, you want them to manage the morale of the squad. How much are they supposed, like I don't get this by Zhang. Like, you need to maintain stability overall. And the thing is, Marotta said before things went south, like completely went south, he said that I've extended my he has a verbal agreement with Inter to extend his contract till 2024. He must be thinking, what the hell did I just agree to? Like, why should I go through this stress in my 60s? And I know, people will say, why am I talking about the age? But it takes a mental stress. If it takes a mental toll. If it took a toll on Conte, he went nuts by the end of his tenure. You imagine how Beppe Marotta keeps his cool. I mean, I just have respect for that guy. And I am seriously nervous because we play Genoa on the first day. There's 16 days to go, if I'm not wrong. Uh, we don't have a striker. Lukaku's gone pretty much. We don't have a right wing back. Lautaro is suspended for the first match. Let's not forget, thanks to the shit Serie A rules, they carry the cards over from previous season. I still don't get it why. He's suspended. There's possibility that Martin Satriano may start versus Genoa. I trust in him as a talent, but I don't know what to say. I'm just stuck in, like, as a fan, I'm in this gray area where I can't, make any evaluations because I don't know who's leaving, who's coming. And even after Lukaku goes, as you said, is that done? Tomorrow then Suning will say, let's sell one more player, right, for further cash to bolster the team, completely. So as a fan, I don't know, like, in a long time, I'm even like nervous to make a prediction as to what the squad will look like. I genuinely thought Hakimi is gone. We get a one right wing back, and that's the end of it. I genuinely thought I'd maybe offload Vidal, and that's the end of it. And of course, unfortunately, Ericsson, he went through what he did, and it was really, I was very happy to see him in the training ground, and I really first hope he recovers well and we can come to his playing career later. And then, of course, we had to go and get Chalanolu. He might not be the most ideal player for Interisti. Even Milanisti criticize him. But yeah, that was it for me. I never thought, Ericsson would go through that. I never thought we'd have to now look for a Lukaku replacement. And, sorry, just to cap off, this yet another season, we go without having a vice Lukaku now, a proper vice Lukaku, because this was probably supposed to be the window where we probably went out and got a vice Lukaku, but now it's Lukaku who himself is leaving mostly. So I don't know, man. I seriously think our top four is going to be a big issue because we can troll other clubs, we can troll Juventus, we can make fun of Milanisti as banter, we can troll Roma, whatever. But Milan have added depth to their team. Let's not kid ourselves. They've added Giroud, who is a very experienced striker. He can score goals out of nothing. They're adding depth in every position where they need it. Might not be the most high qualitative side, but they are working towards it on proper low cost deals. Juventus are working to get Locatelli. They might not get him, but they have they have their man back as the coach. They have Allegri back. Mourinho, we know Mourinho. Of course, he's firing shots at Inter left, right, center since he's come back. Sarri at Lazio. Gasperini continues at Atalanta. Spalletti, who's never missed out on a Champions League spot with an Italian team, he's at Napoli. So what? How am I supposed to be optimistic Inter make the top four? So yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that for now. Like, I'm really worried about the season, man.
Yeah, Manish, like coming to what Parmeshwar said, like with Beppe, that he can rebuild squads. He has done it at Juventus before, but right now his hands are tied. There are no funds. Like, even if he wants to rebuild, Sunning are like, no, we won't give you money at all. And that makes me feel like Marotta will be like, you know what, screw you guys. Like Eric Cartman would say, screw you guys, I'm going home. That's what he's going to do now. He'll be like, I don't want to be in this club because there is no guarantees anymore. there is no a Scudetto winning squad should always rebuild. And it looks like after Scudetto winning the Scudetto, we are back to year zero. I mean, that has been our thing. Year zero has been our thing for the last 10 years. And after winning the Scudetto, again, we're back to year zero because we have a new coach who has promised players and forget getting new players. The players that are there in the squad are being sold right now. And 2 weeks away from the start, and already it's like Inzaghi won't know who are his starting 11. He doesn't have a starting 11 right now. And the season will just keep bombarding us with matches, and we have no squad at all and no reinforcements, no promises. And even though there are promises that will be broken, like if you were Marotta, would you stay or would you be like, I don't even want to be here anymore?
No, I think the only positive point is Marotta and the club, right? Because we trust Marotta more than we trust Sunning Group, or more than we trust anybody. Marotta is the one. He has experience in this level, and it's not right for Suning, because Suning makes a decision and then they just push Marotta and Osilo in the front, like to go and defend. It's not right that way. So I really hope. Okay, right now, the news say at 12th hour, the news says that Zhang is reconsidering the whole deal because it seems like the whole directors are going to place a resignation if because they want Lukaku to stay. Like I previously said, Lukaku is the heart and Lukaku is the soul. So right now, if Lukaku leaves, so pretty much everyone gets affected, not just the players, even the directors. They want to leave because they don't want to be part of a project. It's like a sinking ship. Yeah, the captain leaves. That's Conti. The captain leaves, and then every other star player leaves. Hakimi leaves, and if Lukaku leaves right now, it's going to be a very see. Like now, if you ask between Lukaku and Lautaro, I would suggest selling Lautaro would be a better solution because Lautaro is yet a developing player, but our whole structure is based on Lukaku. And I think 1 month ago they asked Lukaku. I mean, they asked Marotta, "What's it take? Will Lukaku be sold?" He told Lukaku is unsellable. Lukaku is like the most important piece of this team. It's like a most important chess piece. I think that's the words he used. So it makes no sense if now Inter sell Lukaku. Lukaku is the main player. If you sell Lukaku, then the whole project goes 3 or 4 years back. And you saw also the Conti effect. When Conti came to the team, look at the players he signed. And he signed Lukaku, he signed Eriksen, he signed Hakimi, all the world-class talents. And right now, when Conti is gone, you can see the targets we're targeting. Nandes, we're not able to sign him. Chalanoglu, and even more Versa players. Yeah, so it's going back to the banter era. So having a strong coach, it makes a big difference. And I think Lukaku itself, uh, the deal is not yet finalized. Let's hope. It's just I think Chelsea had the first deal turned down, and Chelsea is still preparing the second deal. So nothing yet confirmed. So we just can hope and pray that Zhang realizes, the dilemma he's in. And I hope, there's been a lot of conjecture. It's just conjecture as of now. It's nothing like confirmed news that Lukaku is leaving. So, all right, now we can just hope and pray that all Inter fans hope and pray that Lukaku stays. If Lukaku stays, I think, the whole atmosphere of Inter changes. He's the heart and soul. He's the future captain. And like Parmesha pointed out, every other team has strengthened. Lazio got Sari as a coach. Sari is a very good coach. Napoli got Spalletti as a coach. Again, they're going strong. Roma got Mourinho, and let's not forget Juventus got back Allegri. So all our rivals have strengthened. And also talking about Milan, Milan again they signed very good players like Parush pointed out. They signed the new keeper, they signed Tomori, they signed Giroud. So every other team has strengthened except Inter. Who have we signed? Nobody, other than losing strong players. So yeah, and to be fair, I think why is Inter following financial fair play if Juventus cannot follow, if AC Milan cannot follow, or let's not forget the English Premier League, they can sign anybody they want. Man City just signed Grealish 100 million. They're ready to spend another 100 million for Harry Kane. So why is Inter too much on focusing on funds? Like okay, we sold Hakimi, yes, and we can sell more smaller players like Pinamonti, Arthur Vidal, and stuff, and we can cover up. It's not necessary we had sacrifice the main player of ours. So yeah, Gotham. So situation is tricky. If I would want most probably Marotta to stay. Marotta is the main piece. I think fans trust Marotta, and I hope the pressure gets into Suning board and Suning overall realizes, it's not worth selling. that's the other difference. If you have a foreign owner versus an Italian owner, because Italian owners are more passionate. Foreigners, they just think in the business mode. They just think, okay, it's like, okay, Lukaku is just another asset in the team you can sell off and you can replace. That's a big difference. Why we miss Moratti and we want an Italian owner. If in case Inter gets a new ownership, I hope it's an Italian ownership because that's where the passion lies. Gautam.
Also, I think Gautam, you're on mute, but I would just like to add to what Manish said. About Lukaku. See, it's not, as I said before, it's not only his playing quality. He Look at the brand associated with Lukaku. He's tied up to Rock Nation Sports.
Yeah.
You look at the celebrities tied up with Rock Nation Sports. That gives Inter that presence on a global scale, which we probably won't. It'll decline after he leaves. It's pretty obvious. Let's not kid ourselves. And it's like, as Manish said, fans are angry, and now you see the videos right now. There are fans outside sort of peacefully protesting, putting up cutouts or printouts of saying, like Zhang is a Juventino and all that. And you also have the big banners, and people are actually throwing Inter merch outside the HQ, wearing their own t-shirts, but throwing the Inter merch away. So if you're, see, I know that, Inter East will usually, eventually turn up for matches of their club because it's now been over a year that they haven't seen their club at the stadium. But if this is how you're going to treat them, I'm pretty sure a lot of Interisti will be heavily disappointed and they won't bother turning up for matches. You remember during the banter eras how empty the San Siro used to
Yeah.
be because they just didn't bother watching the team get battered. When we lost to Hapoel Beersheva, like drew to Southampton, uh, they didn't bother turning up at the San Siro. So they are pretty much capable of it. And as Manish said, Zhang needs to look at the overall impact. Fair enough. We need to make money. I get it. But try and have some faith in your sporting CEO. He's one of the best there is. As per reports, he feels confident that he can raise the needed 20 more million because we've already raised 60 via Hakimi. And let's not forget 8 million of those is in easy bonuses. So, we will get a few of the bonuses as time passes. Uh, so, there will be money coming in. He has two transfer windows to fix it. And by next transfer window, I'm pretty sure, other than Lukaku, there will be one player who is sellable. Pretty sure, most likely Lautaro Martinez, because his renewal seems a bit more expensive right now. I'm pretty sure we could sell him off to someone like Atletico Madrid who were interested in him. So let Beppe just have some faith in your management rather than just going after the money straight away. Oh no, here's the 130 million. I have to take it. I can't later.
And
Yeah, sorry, go ahead,
correct.
Manish.
No, but like you said, like before, I think it all started with trend with Juventus first when they sold Zidane for their world
Hmm.
record 65,
Yeah.
60
Hmm.
million. They signed Buffon, they signed Thuram, they signed Nedved, Cameronesi. I
Hmm.
think four players they signed. They
Yeah.
rebuilt the squad. Also, when
Yeah.
Inter when they sold Ibrahimovic, we got a lot of players. We got
Yeah.
Samuelito, we got Lucio, we got Snyder, we got Pandev. So
Hmm.
the right now the question is, we selling Lukaku? Yes, it's for what? What do
Hmm.
you expect back in return? I don't think
Exactly.
any of these
Exactly.
big signings, and none of the signings are going to help. And
But
right
do
now,
Yeah.
if you like you
yeah,
said, Duan Zapata is like three levels down.
Yeah.
yeah.
Agreed.
But
Agreed.
do you think like we are becoming a selling club now under Zhang after
Hmm.
this thing? Like, do clubs
Exactly.
look
I
at
think
us and
now,
feel like, oh, these players, yeah, if
I-
they
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
well, we
right
just buy
now,
them off.
I think after this news, I think Raiola also offered De Vrij to all the English Premier League teams. That's
Yeah.
what the news says. So right now, Inter has turned into Sevilla and Dortmund, where you can choose everybody's for sale at a price. That's not right. If we are a title-winning squad, and I think
Hmm.
Zhang, Suning Group came up with a strong project. They came with to be the Europe's best, to be elite of Europe, and they also had a dream of signing Lionel Messi. Forget that. We can't even keep Lautaro Martinez happy and stuff. So it makes no sense right now because you know what? It's like the Sunning Group overall has huge losses. I think they're using Inter to recover those losses. I think right now
Yeah.
that's the scenario. It's very funny, but that is the truth right now.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. Sunning's plan was to like win the Scudetto with Conte and then just dismantle the squad and make money back. I think that was their plan all along, and they played it really slyly, saying that, oh yeah, we'll rebuild the squad. But I think now all the cards are on the table. We know that they don't want to rebuild, and their vision of rebuilding is like, oh yeah, we'll keep the team in Serie A. I don't think they're even looking at top four right now. They just want to put their money and like get their money back and just go away. And if they're going away, that's one thing. But I don't think they even want to go away because there were offers to buy the club. And when they knew
Mhm.
that they're having financial situation problems, if you talk yourself as you're a fan of the club, you want the club to do well. I mean, you see Hakimi, he didn't want to leave, but he realized that leaving this, going to PSG will help Inter. I mean, why can't Sunning do that, saying that they are like fans of the club? Yeah, we had Roberto Carlos and his entourage come in with an offer, and we would have had Middle Eastern oil money then if his entourage had picked up. But Sunning didn't even agree to that. So I feel like Sunning just is here to like make money, and they don't even want to sell. They just hang around, and it'll be like one of these Arsenal situations with Kroenke, wherein like the fans want them out, everyone want them out, but they'll just suck the life and soul out of the club. Do we
We
start
will
a new link?
new one. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
sure,
new
sure.
link.
Yeah, that, yeah, cool.
Yeah, and one other thing about this situation is like our squad last season was filled with youngsters, and this kind of treatment of the club to their players and the player uncertainty within the group, because the players all talk to each other. They'll obviously have WhatsApp group and they'll be discussing what's going on and stuff. Like, what effect will this have on players like Bastoni, Barella, who are like who are supposed to be the core of our team? And right now they'll be like, oh, if this is how the club treats, if I get an offer, let's say Barella obviously will get an offer from Madrid or Barca or PSG or any Premier League club. I don't think they'll think twice to shift because they know like, oh, the club doesn't care for them anymore. So like, I don't even know how this situation helps the youngsters in this case.
Yeah, and I think adding to what you said, because you know there was a point where if you read the reports that certain players were considered indispensable. Of course, Romelu Lukaku falls in that or at least fell in that category. But Barella is one of them, because Barella, Skriniar, Lukaku are the three ones pretty much considered for captaincy as well. Barella was one. Bastoni was of course one, and he did extend his contract. But if you notice one thing about it, it's not a big extension. That's what has worried many Inter fans, like, because some people think that it's just an extension done to sell him on later on, maybe in the future sometime. Hopefully not, but yeah, he's considered as a key player, and Barella, and yeah, it was supposed to be Hakimi as well, but you know what happened. So as you said, Gotham, there's lack of guarantee at this point, because you know what Conte wanted to continue this project. All he wanted was certainty. He wanted to know how many players are leaving and who it is leaving. Had they given him the guarantees back then, he could have still made some adjustments and probably continued, because at the end of the day, we know Antonio Conte can get the best out of any player, that is even the most average player there is. We've seen it at Chelsea, we've seen it at Juventus, we've seen it with Inter, with Candreva, for instance. And yeah, so and I think Lele Oriali said this as well. I think the day we lifted the Scudetto at the San Siro, he was interviewed, and uh, I thought he would try to dodge the question, but he was pretty blunt in his approach. He said that we don't know if we'll continue here. We want clarity from the owners, and he was pretty straight up. And again, now when I look back, I thought he was being pretty harsh, but he was right. So it does put a lot of doubt in the player's mind now. Devray, for instance, has a verbal agreement on his contract until 2025, but they're not finalizing it because he came in on a free transfer from Lazio. So if you sell him for any amount, let's say Devray is sold for 40 million, for instance, the entire capital gain is 40 million, because he came in on a free transfer. So they might ship him off too. I know he was linked with Everton, but Everton have certain FFP issues, which hence they can't buy him right now. But tomorrow, they might just ship him off next season. And the important part about this squad has been the defense. If you think about it, like, one key consistent thing about this squad last season was the defense. When all three performed in tandem, Bastoni, Skriniar, De Vrij, and I think I remember mentioning this to you all last season in some episode, and I think you guys agreed that when we used to rate players, individually, I think we started giving the defenders the same rating when they kept a
Yeah,
clean sheet and put in a good performance, because they just work so well together, right? And cover up. They basically ensure that Handanovic is less error prone in a way. Uh, and yeah, so what guarantees does now a loyal player like Skriniar have, as you guys mentioned before? He sacked his agent to renew his contract. Uh, you know, he wants to continue at the club regardless. He said uh, Conte leaving was a very big shock to him, but he's here to defend the Scudetto. He's one of the few players in the squad passionate about Inter. What image are we setting for players like him? Like, why would anyone I read David Amoyal say this the other day, and even Zach Lowy, that we okay fine Serie A may produce the talents going forward, because eventually we might discover them if not produce as well. We have players like Vlahovic and so on, but what's the guarantee that a big player like Lukaku will now come to the Serie A? The only drawing factor now is either Juventus or AC Milan, and if this is how Inter continue, then Inter are not there. You can say Roma if they stabilize and if Mourinho continues, and you can say one more thing is the tax benefit that foreign players get from coming to Italy. So what guarantees like we'll have another star player look like Lukaku come here? We may not need one, but how else do you build the image of this league? Because the authorities don't care enough. They turned down an Amazon TV deal which was supposed to be very lucrative
Yeah.
uh, for the league. They just squandered it. That's gone. They still have a decent deal, but we all know the TV rights for our clubs are pretty less. Sheffield United earned more than Inter last season from TV money, and Sheffield United finished last in the Premier League. So there's some food for thought there. So when you put all these things into perspective, then you add the Suning angle to it, where you're dealing wages, where you just can't trust the owners anymore. He comes to Italy, he puts on a smile, he parties with the players when he did with the Scudetto celebrations. Then he goes and he's this other person where no one from Suning will communicate. And then the players are like, how do we trust this guy? They might start thinking, he's two-faced after all, because when he comes to Italy, he is a person who gives certain guarantees, but then he's gone, he's somebody else. Like he came to Italy, he gave Beppe Marotta this guarantee, that guarantee. He's gone, and now Beppe Marotta is here trying to defend the club. He doesn't have to defend the club. He can say that I'm done with this pressure. It's time to walk away from Inter. I don't need to extend it. I only have 1 year left technically, but he's here to defend the club. Like I don't know who else would, because if Marotta leaves, we are pretty much screwed, as Manish said. Like
Yeah.
Ozilio only improved after Marotta came. Let's be honest. Like let's not debate that. So if Marotta goes, we are screwed. We don't know who will come in, and then we've lost all the middlemen to hold the players and the management together, because we lost Oriali already. Now the only two people holding it together are Marotta and Ozilio, and I can tell you pretty much Marotta is doing more of the work, and is more, let's say, more has more of an aura than Ozilio does. So yeah, so I just want to say that if if Zhang is really reconsidering, as the reports say, or maybe it's a tactic to push the blame on, let's say, Lukaku's agent.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, I won't pretend that Lukaku's agent isn't running after the money, but it could still be a tactic to push the blame on Lukaku, because we all know that he's not the one who actually wants to leave. So is there just a tactic, or is it a genuine attempt to keep Lukaku? He needs to come out and say something now, because as I said before, Suning are known to not communicate a lot of things. They only communicate at the very end, only on some instances. And I feel this is one of those instances where he cannot wait longer. He has to talk. Like there's no two ways about it. And it's not only the fans. Okay, we are fans. Eventually we'll come around somehow, because we love the club, right? But this is not what Simone Inzaghi deserves. He clearly doesn't. This is not what he agreed on. He has a 2 year contract. He was told certain things and he's already being conned. This is not what Beppe Marotta agreed his verbal extension on. Same with Ozilio. And yeah, so they clearly deserve better for keeping the ship afloat in such in this crisis, overall chaos and crisis. They really, the least they deserve is clarity, if not a rise in their, if not a raise in their wages, whatever it is to keep them happy. Other than that,
Yeah,
so
but yeah. To Manish now, like we just heard news that Messi is not continuing with Barcelona, like, do you feel this changes the market strategy for all the clubs involved right now? And it's not just Inter. I don't think we're in the picture anymore for Messi, even though we weren't there. We are just a speck, but at least we were there last season. But now I don't think we are there anymore. But do you think the transfer strategy now for all the rich clubs change because of Messi's decision? Do you think now PSG, City, all will look at Messi? And if that happens right now, if Messi becomes the priority, and Chelsea are looking at Lukaku's situation right now, and they're like, okay, there's a riot that's going to happen at Milan right now if Lukaku goes. There's that uncertainty happening. Kane has not turned up for the training session for Tottenham. So if Messi is available, do you think City will go for Messi rather than Kane? And will that have a domino effect in reverse, wherein like Lukaku is no longer needed by Premier League clubs because Messi is available?
Yes, yeah, and just now the breaking news, like we see, it's Messi and Barcelona confirmed that Messi and Barcelona are going separate ways. It's a brilliant news actually right now for us. It's like some positive news because right now, like you said, it's going to be a dogfight. Everybody wants Messi. Messi's available on a free. So, like you said, the Premier League teams have massive budgets. They have massive war chests with them. They can whatever the Messi salary they can afford it. So it's not a problem for them. And right now, the whole attention, right now, if you ask me, before Messi, it was on Haaland. Everybody wanted Haaland. Man City wanted Haaland. Chelsea wanted Haaland. Arsenal wanted Haaland. But Haaland's contract and his agent fees and I think his lump sum, altogether, Dortmund didn't want to sell Haaland. So after that, the attention slowly diverted Lukaku. So if you ask me right now, I think Man City will go all in for Messi. And let's hope with that news, if Man City goes for Messi, Kane is available on a reasonable deal, and Chelsea refocus the attention on Harry Kane rather than Lukaku. And if you check Lukaku had pretty much the same scenario of Pogba. Pogba had the same scenario with he left Manchester United and joined Juventus, and then he went rejoined United, and then it was a disaster from then on because the English media is so harsh on Pogba. The same thing, English media never allowed Lukaku. So I don't understand why the point is Lukaku had to go there. Lukaku's played for five teams, if I'm not mistaken, five different teams in England, and always the media hated him. They hated him for his first touch. They hated him for his overweight issues. They hated him for a lot of other reasons. So I don't think Lukaku has a point to prove in England because Lukaku right now, like he said, Lukaku has a domicile of origin in Italy. Italy is like a second home. Everybody, and he said a lot of times, I'm so happy at Inter. I don't want to leave. So I hope this Messi scenario overall changes for the good. And Lukaku, Chelsea, and other Premier League teams focus the attention on Messi and leave Lukaku free to enter. And overall, by now, Zhang realizes, because I think we all spoke about how the directors are ready to threaten the club with the resignation. So overall, it's not yet confirmed that Chelsea going on for the second bid. So let's hope for good news, Gautam, if you ask me.
Yeah,
Uh,
Parmesh, yeah.
yeah. Just wanted to say that I already saw some news that Manchester City are not really interested in Messi, and also just to add that let's say even if he were to go there, I really like first of all we all know that Spurs are hell bent on keeping Kane. Like I know it's against his will and he didn't show up to training and eventually he did, but I really don't think they'll send him to a direct rival. Like that's the last thing they'll do because the whole point of I know Spurs is not directly a title contender, but that's where they aim to be eventually as years pass. So I really don't think that'll happen. But I mean, I know, I really want Lukaku to stay, but I think Chelsea are pretty much focused on him. So I think the only way we avoid this is all down to Zhang now. But yeah, sorry, Gautam, you were about to ask me something.
Oh, no, no. I was like, just to cap this session off,
Yeah.
hopefully in a good way, but like, what do you expect the season to be like? Do you have any hopes? Like, how do you feel like the season to go ahead? Like our transfer targets and our vision right now with Inzaghi. He plays with
Okay.
wingers, and we
Yes.
have
Yes.
Dimarco back now. Like, how do you
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
season going?
Yeah, so I'll start with a bit of preseason because I think we have we've discussed a lot of not negative, but a lot of
Hard,
heartbreaking news. So
hard, and let's
yeah,
say
yeah,
hard truths.
yeah. So to begin with preseason, I mean, of course, we all know that we were supposed to go to the Florida Cup and everything, and that got cancelled. And I think for I think we took the right decision by not going because the Delta variant is pretty much prevalent in the US, and I think we took the right step. And yeah, some interists, you have heard them debate that, we aren't playing the big teams like other teams are, but, it's all about building match sharpness at this point. And you don't want many players to get injured because let's not forget, D'Ambrosio is still recovering. Alexis Sanchez is recovering. Gagliardini is out for 3 weeks. Of course, we all have our thoughts on him, but, we still need those players, right? After all. So yeah, I mean, the two positives, all I would like to take firstly from the preseason was Federico Di Marco first. He looked good in all the preseason games versus Lugano when he was used as a left centre back, and even versus Crotone as a left wing back. And the two preseason games they didn't broadcast, so I can't really comment on that. But yeah, I think he is going to give Perisic a run for his money, and that is good to see. We all know how competition can help people thrive. We all saw how Perisic grew into his own when Young started being competitive
Yeah.
last season. So that's a good sign. And Federico Di Marco has a long way to go, and I'm really excited to see him. I know that he has to improve on the defensive side of his game, but he can get there. So I'm pretty much satisfied. And we were linked with the likes of Kostic, Alex Telles, and I really believe that those deals won't happen. And I really feel that signing a left wing back is not the need of the hour. Not at all. We have two of them. Just stick to them. Continue. I know Perisic has only 1 year left, but just continue with him. And apart from that, coming to your question, how do we look for the season? So assuming Lukaku goes, or it's again, I'll come to the right wing back first. So we were supposed to get Nandes. It was supposed to be done like a week ago. It's not done yet. The whole Nangolan severance pay issue still
Yeah.
persists. But I'm still assuming it's going to be Nandes first. If we get Bahrain, like or not with him, I don't know. But in my opinion, if we get Nandes plus one more right wing back, it's a good deal. And I feel we should then go on to offload Vidal. I know a lot of people won't agree with me because he is a bit on the experience side. And I remember last season, he was the first one to believe that we could win the title. I know he's a bit crazy and all, he can be a bit foolish, but that those things are a tad bit important. But I still don't want him to be in the squad because let's not forget, Suning want to cut the salaries by 15 to 20%. He earns 6 million, and that's not enough. That doesn't justify a bench role for me, Gautam. So I think if we get Nandes, because he can play as a box-to-box midfielder and a right wing back, which he does for Cagliari and
Mhm.
Uruguay, him plus Bellerin, I know Bellerin is not the best right now, and miraculously Dumfries, then I'm happy. And if Lukaku stays, that I'll be on cloud nine if Lukaku ends up staying, which I don't. It seems difficult, but if he goes, we all know Duvan Zapata is going to be the one most likely because Vlahovic, Fiorentina won't let him go. So things look difficult, Gautam. I'm not going to lie. My expectation to cap off would be that Inter should fight in the season in such a way that they give it their all to at least try for the Scudetto. I'm not saying that you go out to win it, but when you try for it, you have better chances to finish in the top four than you just aim for the top four. If you know what I mean. Like I don't want
But
them to slack on the basis of that, they're just aiming for the top four and then they, play it risky and then they mess up the top four. If you know what I mean.
I
I
mean,
want
as
them to
as
yeah,
defending champions, I think it's the duty of
yeah,
the players to like
yes,
retain
yes.
the Scudetto. They can't
Yes,
just say,
yeah, I completely agree with you. I agree with you, but I think the players have been put in such a condition that it's really, I think, a tad bit not unfair, but I think it would be a bit too much to expect them to win the Scudetto immediately. I expect them to put up a fight. I'm not saying they're a bad bunch of players. Of course they aren't. Come on. We need to be real that we aren't a shit squad or something. We are there. It has taken a hit. I agree. But why I want them to fight for the top two spots or let's say top three or top two, whatever it is, because then they'll do that extra bit better to, then at least achieve top four, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
So I just don't want them to think, oh yeah, top four is the achievement, and then they on in the last few weeks they miss out on the top four. I don't want that. So that's my take on, and honestly saying that, Gotham, I'm not fully optimistic. I really wanted to be optimistic about Simone Inzaghi, and I'm not. And just don't get me wrong, I don't blame him for anything. He has done absolutely nothing wrong. Even if come November, December, he's not in a good position on the standings, I'm not going to blame him because I know we all know he's not been given the right working conditions. I know tactical decisions matter, but we will have to see what the squad looks like. And yeah, just to cap off, you know, I pray we get top four. Like I'll be over the moon with a top four finish, honestly.
Yeah. Manish, coming to you, the same thing. Like, what are your thoughts on the season? Like, do you feel top four should be the aim, or do you go for the Scudetto? No, if not the Scudetto, then try finishing in the top two because the squad has taken a hit. And like Parmeshwar said, if Inzaghi is not doing well, do you think Zhang will get trigger happy and he'll be like, oh, we don't need Inzaghi, we'll get some other coach for a cheaper price because looks like that's what Zhang is doing right now. Or like, what are your views on this season? Anything positive?
First of all, some couple of points I disagree with Parmeshwar. One is the conditions to work for. Pretty much, we retain the whole squad of Inter. Inter is a Scudetto winning squad. Other than selling of Hakimi, which I think Marotta explained to the fans the reason why
Yeah.
we haven't got a replacement for him. That's the only, as of now, we're talking about. Yeah, once you sell Lukaku is a different story. So right now we have pretty much the whole squad. For Ericsson, we got back-to-back replacement. We got Chalanoglu, who has plenty of Serie A experience, and he fits the right position.
And he
So the
did
main
well
aim
in
of
the preseason as well.
yeah. So I think it's a good signing because he played well for Milan, and I think Milan fans I just saw that they lost him on a free transfer. So the same thing they say for Donnarumma, same thing they say for Chalanoglu. But other than that, I think Chalanoglu is a good addition to a squad. He adds a different piece of play, and he's been replaced Ericsson. So I'm not saying like to like replacement, but yes, definitely a good replacement. So only thing missing right now is the Hakimi position, which I think we should sign Nandes very soon. But I'm not sure how good is Nandes. But other than that, pretty much the whole squad is there. We still are the champions of Italy. So I won't say we are the favorites this season. Well, I think favorites are with Juventus, where they got back Allegri and pretty much Ronaldo staying put at Juventus. So Juventus are the favorites. But saying that it's a very good decision by Marotta and the directors going for Simeone Inzaghi. Why? Because I think the formation is like to like. If he had gone from Conti to Mourinho or a Sarri, it completely changes the whole dynamism because I think Conti for last 2.5 years working hard on the system, three-man defense, and that immediately Simeone Inzaghi accepts the same system. So it's not going to be. And Simeone Inzaghi is a well-experienced guy. He's been I think for Lazio for a lot of years now, for the last 4 or 5 years, and it's consistent in that formation. So I don't think Inter should suffer that much saying that in the formation side of thing because like to like formation, and Simeone Inzaghi is a very young, dynamic coach. So yes, we lost Conti. That is a pain, and we lost Hakimi. Yes, but pretty much the whole core remains, and I want Lukaku to stay. And if Lukaku and Lautaro stays, yes, we can still do a lot of wonders. But saying that the favorites, I don't consider us to be the favorites. Juventus are the favorites with Allegri back in the picture. If Pirlo had been in Juventus, then it would be a different scenario. But Allegri is a top coach, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think he has won. I think consecutive so many titles back to back. So yes, Juventus are the favorites. Other than that, Roma has strengthened, like I mentioned, Lazio has strengthened. So it's going to be a very interesting mix of Serie A. I hope we get the missing pieces of the puzzle, and we are ready for the season. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
Yeah,
Gautam.
same thing for me. It's like with Allegri back at Juventus, I think they by default become the favorites this season again. I mean, if we had the same squad as last season, if we still had Hakimi, if we still had Conte, I would say we are the favorites ahead of Juventus. But
Right.
that we have lost Conte, we have lost Hakimi, on the verge of losing Lukaku. But I think it will take at least a couple of months, at least half a season, at least for the team to gel well and bond together and
Mhm.
play for Inzaghi. I mean, the uncertainties around the club, I guess, will affect the players. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, yeah, I would say top four this season will be an achievement because, like you guys said, the other teams have strengthened and we need to be unified. I mean, Manish makes a really good point that for the time being, only Hakimi is gone, and yeah, Ericsson can't continue. But we have Çalhanoğlu, and you cannot replace Hakimi. He was the best in his position. So
Yeah.
we need someone like that. But yeah, Parmeshwar, you had something.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that uh, see Simone Inzaghi. I'm ready to back him, and I believe he can do a good job. See, but the thing is, what I believe is that why I said these conditions are difficult to work in is not because of the mainly because of the players we have, or I don't trust the management. I trust the management. It's because the owners keep throwing random, bombs at you. Like you just don't know what's going on. Like, did he know he was told Lukaku is going to stay, right? That was the guarantee given to him. But now
Yeah.
he like 3 weeks before he's told we don't know. So that's my only worry. And the thing is, yes, I agree that he may take time to gel and everything. The thing is, with Conte, we also had Oriali. You remember the whole Lautaro Martinez Conte spat on the
Yeah.
sidelines. The first person to go calm down Lautaro and fix that whole thing was Oriali. And
Orel, yeah.
again, and I'm not doubting Inzaghi's capabilities that he can't do that, but Inzaghi has already a lot on his plate to worry about. So he may not have that enough span of attention to focus on every small thing as it happens. So with all those things considered, when you see other teams, it is going to be a tough season. Is what I'm trying to say. I don't doubt our team's quality, as I said. I'm not doubting. It's not like the post treble winning season where we had aged players and then it went downhill really in terms of quality. It's not that. I just if you want Inzaghi to do something, at least give him something to build. Over the years. I know he has a 2-year contract, but I'm pretty sure if he does a decent job, he will get an extension, and then in that case, he would deserve. And I think it would be a good job because he's also on the younger side. So if you put faith in him, at least give him something to build on for the future. Then maybe he can go ahead and again maybe challenge Juventus if again things go well for us, as Manish said. Because as things stand, you guys said that of course Hakimi is the only one who has left, and I just wanted to add to that. My one more worry that I have is that I always knew that that the Hakimi money was never going to the market. Many fans thought it would, at least 10 million or maybe 5 million or something, right? But none of it has. And that's the company's choice. That is Suning's choice. What makes us think they will actually end up being flexible with the rest of the 130 million we get? As we already discussed, we know the rumors are circulating it's 40 to 60. But what makes it?
Just to correct you that I don't think Lukaku deal is yet finalized. Chelsea
Yeah,
hasn't
I'm not saying.
given a second deal,
Yeah,
so
I
let's
agree
not
with that.
assume that.
Yeah, no,
But
I
saying
agree
that,
that. I agree.
I think before itself they said they want 80 million in capital gain
Yes,
and around 15% in wages saving.
yes,
So I think the directors are working towards that, and
yeah,
we have trust and faith in Marotta. It's going to deliver that.
yeah.
And if Zhang goes against Marotta and the director's wishes, I don't think it's going to end well for Zhang. So let's
So,
hope it's for the good.
and
Yeah.
I agree with what you said, Manish. I'm not disagreeing on the
Right.
plus 80 million, 15, 20. The thing is, it seems that Suning also wants some extra surplus besides the 80 million for the club, for the operations of the club. That's my worry. That's where I come from, and I agree. Lukaku hasn't been sold, but I'm going back by the panic that Inter fans are surrounded with.
Correct.
That he is
And
pretty
also
much.
this season, I think the fans will be allowed in. Right now, it's
Yes, and
50% in Italy, but
yes,
I think will gradually increase.
30%.
So
yes, and yeah,
we would
and let
get
me just
the fan revenue, ticket revenue on that.
let me just clarify that what I don't like, what I have, this is my biggest complaint with the league. I know you guys said it's 50%, but what Marotta complained about this 50%, he wants 100% for a reason, because and those who are fully vaccinated or test negative, he wants 100%.
No,
Because if
that
you
will change. That will change.
yeah,
50% as
what,
of now, but it will increase.
it has to increase, because what Marotta said is that the spaces between the seats in the San Siro are very less. So the 15% with a distance of 1 to 2 meters is actually going to bring the capacity down to 33% for San Siro. And for the Allianz Stadium, for Juventus Stadium, it's going to remain more than what we get, because the
No,
gap
only
between the seats.
yeah. Only Juventus will be
Yeah,
at 50%, and every other club will be at 30%.
30%, depending on the gap between the seats.
Yeah.
So that's where
Correct.
Marotta is
But
coming from. So
the
yeah,
Gotham saying that I think we are in negotiations. I think the whole Italian league is going to change in the sense
yeah.
when season starts. I think within a week or two, once the season starts,
And
it will be
yeah,
more capacity.
But
Because
And,
I
if
think
and,
Premier League is operating 100%, if I'm not mistaken.
yes,
yeah,
yes, yes.
but if
And
Zhang
just
is
yeah,
going
sorry.
to but if Zhang is going to continue his antics and sell Lukaku and be like this, so I would prefer the Curva not to boycott the matches and just let it be empty. Like,
Yeah.
don't even give Sunning the ticket revenue. Like, don't give them the gate revenue.
Yeah. And also just to add, Gautam, like, just to add to Marota's argument, I know we are pretty much done. A lot of Italian fans criticize the fact that they should not open up at 100%. It's risky. But what he actually said was those who are fully vaccinated and those who test negative, right, like 2 days before the match or something, a day before the match, only those at 100 capacity should be allowed. So there is a valid argument there.
Hmm.
And we all know the disparity in money between the Serie A, the Premier League. We really need this ticket money badly. Like we really do, especially Inter, because for the last 8-9 seasons we have the highest average attendance. We make the most from ticket money. Our model is based on ticket money. So the league, I hope they do something about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it, folks. So that was our intense first episode of the new season of Solo Inter podcast.
Yeah.
Do let us know in the comments what do you make of the
Yeah.
situation, like the Sunning fiasco, the Lukaku thing. He should stay, but Sunning looks like they're trying to make Lukaku the bad guy. We all know Sunning is just pushing him out. What do you make of this situation? What are your hopes for the season? Please do like, share, and do let us know in the
Subscribe
comments. And
and subscribe to the channel. Yeah.
subscribe to the channel, and let us know what you make of the situation. All right, folks. No matter what the situation, Forza Inter.
Yeah.
For
Forza
Inter.
Inter.